not a masochist. And if I was dropping in the polls where I saw that I wasn't going to win, why would I continue? And it's funny, maybe it's like not like me because it's the power of positive thinking. I'm a very positive person. I'm a positive thinker. But the truth is, I'm a realist. If I were doing poorly, if I saw myself going down, if you would stop calling me because you no longer have any interest in Trump because he has no chance, I'd go back to my business. I have no problem with that.
All right, folks, and Donald Trump firing back at those who, I guess, took that at face value and said, well, there's a chance that down the line he might drop out of the race. Bill Kristol, founder and editor of the Weekly Standard, ABC News contributor, joins us. Hey, Bill.
How are you, Steve?
I'm doing well. You know, a couple of things. Earlier we had Ben Carson in studio, and he said that he thinks the purpose of that Trump statement that he made several times is that others who are faltering in the polls, others with 0, 1, 2, 3%, should get out of the race. He says he was trying to send a message. And also, Trump is firing back, especially at a former Romney strategist who predicted he'd be out of the race by Iowa. So what do you what's your take on what Trump had to say and why he said it?
God knows, maybe he just like to stir the pot, you know. I don't know that it really changes much. It is a little striking to hear a candidate not say, look, I'm in it because I believe so strongly in the following ideas. I'll advance them as long as I have a chance to. I'm not going to presume because of some poll numbers that the voters are going to, you know, rule me in or out. Trump's one of his main selling points has been he's a winner, and he's a winner because he's ahead in the polls. That does become kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, but also a self-defeating prophecy if you then start dropping in the polls. So I have no idea whether he'll get out or in. I said a while ago I thought he peaked. I kind of think that's true now. It seems like he's stable, sliding down a bit in the polls. I think Ben Carson, who you've had on, I guess, I don't know what impression he made on you and what news he made with you. I haven't heard it yet, obviously, but I think Carson has had a very strong few weeks. I mean, Carson is underrated, I think, by everyone in Washington.
Yeah, I agree. He was very strong on foreign policy. He was very strong on every issue that we addressed, and we spoke for 25 minutes. And we're going to run every night this week. We're going to run a portion of the interview. So he was very impressive on the issues, and you know, he's always been impressive to me. But he knows his stuff.
Is that right? Because there's been questions about that. You know, on this Oregon shooting, he had this reaction of I think tweeting the "I am a Christian" hashtag after these young people were killed. Apparently, haven't been asked whether they were Christians, and he did it on Facebook. And I was told, I haven't looked myself, that he had over 1 million people liking his Facebook post. And I mean, those are huge numbers. Trump has a lot of. Carson has a lot of support out there, and a lot of people he's sort of in contact with through Facebook and other social media out there, kind of beneath the mainstream media radar screen, it seems to me.
And $20 million raised in the last period as well, which is nothing to sneeze at. Let me ask you about Joe Biden. It now comes to light, according to Politico, two things today, as it appears Biden gets closer and closer to announcing that it was he himself who leaked word that his son's dying wish was that he run for president. And also that he's considering Elizabeth Warren as his vice president. What's your take on Joe Biden right now?
I think we talked about it right after the Maureen Dowd column, but I wrote a post the day after saying I think this is probably Biden himself. If you just read the column, there's such a limited number of people who would have had the information that she got, and really the limit is the most obvious suspect was Biden himself, and it turns out presumably to be the case. I think he's going to run. I think if you go to all the trouble of putting out that story and then doing everything he's done for the last 2 months, the private meeting with Elizabeth Warren and all that, it'd be kind of weird now not to run, honestly. I mean, so I kind of think he will. I think he'll announce the Democratic debates next Tuesday. He wants to let that go by. I think he'll wait till the week after that, maybe something like Monday the 19th, Tuesday the 20th, he'll announce. And I think he could be pretty formidable. There's a lot of unhappiness with Hillary Clinton and a lot of sense that they don't want to nominate Bernie Sanders, and Biden is probably no one's wildly enthusiastic first choice, or not that many people's, I'd say, but he's acceptable to most of the Democrats. He was Obama's loyal vice president. Obama has pretty high ratings still with Democrats.
Right.
So I think Biden could be formidable.
Okay, let me ask you this. We got a minute left. How on earth is it possible that Mahmoud Abbas stands in front of the United Nations and rips up the Oslo Accords, and I haven't heard boo from this administration?
Well, they're too busy issuing moral equivalent statements, even-handed statements about murders of Israelis by Palestinians, incited to that by Palestinians down from Abbas on down, or Abbas's party certainly, and they're too busy saying, hey, we hope there's no violence in and around Jerusalem. Well, who's causing that violence? So this administration isn't going to talk about it, and I guess the mainstream media isn't going to talk about it much. I got to say, if you're a friend of Israel, this administration is just as bad as even the worst fears, even our worst fears suggested.
And of course, John Kerry and Samantha Power, neither one were at Netanyahu's speech, and that was no accident. Bill, great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave.
Take care. Bill Kristol, ladies and gentlemen. Up next, Senior Fellow at the Family Research Council, Ken Blackwell. Don't go away.